Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me, busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail.
Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience transformative radio show.
Hey, boy. Hey, everybody. Welcome. Yeah. Oh, Suzanne and I are like, we cannot wait to do this show. Suzanne Alexandria is joining me here today. We really have got a great show for all of you out there. And I just want to say, if you want to find out more about her, easy to do. SuzanneAlexandria.com or Facebook, Suzanne Alexandria Healer rather. And you know, you're going to find out about that. But, you know, today I'm really excited about this here show because this is about how to use Reiki to find your peace. And it's one of those shows that, you know, you've talked about Reiki and you know that there is some power in it. If you're like me, basically, who didn't know anything about any of this 20 years ago, and then had a whole bunch of like healing stuff had to go on. And then you're hearing things like Reiki and cupping and acupuncture, and you get to go through the realm. But did you know this? This is the thing. Did you know that you have the power, if you learn how to use things, you have the power to take the healing on, to take it within. So this is what today's about. What does it mean to like go within? What does it mean? It is such an important conversation. We're going to start out with Reiki. What is it? Where did it come from? How many gazillion centuries have we been using this form of healing? And then Suzanne's going to tell us how we can find our peace today. Suzanne, it's great to have you.
Oh, thank you, Dr. Pat. Thank you. And hello, everybody. It's so glorious to be here today with the light. Reiki is just light. We're just calling in the light.
Well, let's call it a light, but let's call it something that really does work. Okay. So let me give you a lame self story and then you pick it up from here.
Then I'll give another lame one.
So I can go back a lot of years and, you know, I've talked about my knees. Benny and I talk about our knees from time to time, but I just got my knees replaced. So I don't talk about it much anymore. But in the healing journey along the way of being me, one of the things I discovered is when you're really that rough on parts of your body, things happen. Really unusual experience and experiment. You ready for it?
Yeah.
And you have to ask yourself, why, if you discover something that works, why wouldn't you do it again? Perfect example. Back in the day, got a little arthroscopic knee thing done, right? You know, okay. So got one done on my left knee, one on my right knee. This is where they go in and they try to fix some stuff up. So in the left knee, my friend comes over and all of a sudden, and this is before like I even understood what you were talking about.
Yeah.
Comes over. And what I found out later was doing Reiki on the knee. Within 5 hours after surgery, I was up dancing at my friend's house.
Whoa.
Now, I didn't mean to. I didn't plan to. I mean, I just had knee surgery. I didn't think if I'd be able to walk. But somehow I didn't know my friend. You know, she said she was going to do some stuff, but I was asleep. And honestly, to this day, I don't know exactly what she did. 5 hours at my friend's house. No pain. It was amazing. Second knee, she says, do you want me to come over and like do the thing?
The thing, yeah.
And I said, I think I'm going to be good.
Right.
Right. Yeah. I'm like,
Yeah.
I think I'm going to be good. I think like, so first of all, whatever she did the first time I clicked. And what was the answer? The answer was no, I wasn't good.
Mhm.
As much as I
You weren't
thought about it,
dancing. Yeah.
I wasn't dancing. But I don't know how to explain this or how it works. That's what you're going to do today.
Mhm,
Now, I have to
mhm.
tell you, since that time, I've become way more knowledgeable. I don't call it the thing. Come over and do the thing.
Yeah.
But beyond that kind of healing, Reiki has some incredible essential power. Tell us for
Mhm.
us how you came to know this and how you're using it today to help us get to that place of peace
Mhm.
within.
Yeah, it is magical. First, by the way, let's say that we're taking live callers too in the
Yes.
second part of the show. So call in if you do want to ask about Reiki or get a reading. I'll be happy to do that.
Well, let me explain. This is a live call-in show, and I'm going to tell you all now, it's an open live call-in show because we're doing freedom readings today.
Yeah.
Freedom readings as well. And to get some insight, get some healing done, 1-800-930-2819. And for those of you over there those of you watching on Facebook, certainly we'll monitor that. And Olivia will be able to type in our chat, your questions, comments. We are doing this as a live call-in show because that's what Suzanne Alexandria has really opened up. She has really opened up a portal for her work now to be of immediate service to you. And so, yes, I will say it slower. 1-800-930-2819.
Beautiful. So you ask a big question. I think that question will take us through this whole time. But what is it and how does it work is part of it, right? And I mean, to be honest, I don't know. It's pretty magical. Reiki the name of it is spiritually guided healing energy. It's a Japanese name, and it's a practice. I always like to say it's a practice like doing yoga and meditating and doing Tai Chi is a practice. All of us have the power to learn how to cultivate the movement of energy, the channeling of energy, the shifting of energy. And so, yeah, Reiki practitioners get trained, and I train people. I love to train people to do it. But it's also like, it's something we all can do, like learning how to cook a good meal. It comes, in, and to me, it's becoming a way to transform my situation or my client's situation, because our situations are energy. Like when we are blocked by something, like something in a relationship or in our body, sickness, what have you, that's energy. Like there's an energy of it all. A relationship gets dysfunctional and like frenetic energy is created. And fundamentally, at the end of the day, I mean, it's more complicated than this, but at the end of the day, for me, that energy can shift. It can move by our thoughts, by our awareness, and even by actions. We moving our hands and moving energy out, just like going on a walk in nature or taking a salt bath shifts energy.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things. And like you, I've learned many skills in the past 10 years. I know how to read the Akashic records. I know how to do kind of quantum work now, but it's funny because at the end of the day, I'm coming back to also, wow, how powerful Reiki is, because when we can calm ourselves and get still and quiet, I mean, yogis have been teaching us that for millennia, then we find the answers and we find a shift. And so, for instance, like what you experienced with your knee was a shift in the pain body and in the pain energy, and moving that out of your knee, literally, and bringing in something very, very comforting. And that happens physically and it happens emotionally too. So there's, many ways we can look at it, but fundamentally, like you said about the power, we are all given these the gift of empowerment to actually make changes in our lives. And this is about changing your energy. As Joe Dispenza says, when you change your energy, you change your life.
Yeah.
And it's so I'm just kind of getting on a new bandwagon of, hey, like, you want freedom, you want peace. Well, this is one tool you can use for it.
Yeah. And I just want to talk to that. I mean, you're an intuitive, you're a life coach, you're an energy healer, you're a guide, and you love to share Reiki. And
Mhm.
there's a reason that you do. And one of the reasons is, and especially when people go to your website, because you're really now offering something for people, right? To
Mhm.
enable them to look, you can have the Reiki home improvement kit. And what is this going to do? This home improvement kit, what it's going to do, it's going to help you understand the restorative energy of this,
Mhm.
the calm energy, the gentle energy. But also for me, there are a lot of tools that we can put ourselves in front of. This is, to me, one of the more powerful tools to get an instant shift,
Mhm.
like
Seriously,
instantaneously shift, right?
you're
Do you know
right.
what I mean?
I do. Yeah. Yes, it can be. It is instant. Yeah, you're right. It
Yeah.
doesn't take, and learning it, so you brought up my Reiki home improvement kit.
Yes.
Thank you, at ReikiHomeImprovementKit.com. And I'm launching it at a very special introductory rate that'll be
Mhm.
available for several more days. But yeah, like learning how to start. I've turned this into a 5-day package of videos and trainings to get started. And they're only like 20-30 minutes a day. So you can get all the essentials that you need to start bringing in presence and calm into your house, because that's what I want my people to go home and have something to be in a new way and have a new way to be, because that's what they come to me for.
Yeah. And I want to talk to you about this right here for a minute before we go to break. I want to ask you the question, talk about this when we come back. So one of the things I love and still learning, I see myself as a student. A lot of people see me as a teacher, but I really do see myself as a student, because I'm so curious and I'm so interested. And for our listeners, by the way, the best audience on the planet, I want to make sure that if you and I are here talking about something, that the integrity of what we're talking about is really in the forefront. So I don't really talk about anything that I pretty much haven't tried myself or had an experience with.
Mm-hmm.
This morning, it's interesting. I'm getting ready for the show and I'm talking to Linda, and Linda's doing in her brain one of the most stressful things Linda can do: look for a new car or buy the existing car that she has. And I loved listening to her, because I have things like that in my life that I agonize over. Buying a car is not one of them. I said to her, look, let's get on the phone with Michael. I will help you on the phone. I love talking to these car people. But here's the thing that I ended up saying to her. I said, what if you had a different conversation going on in your mind? What if this wasn't the most stressful thing? What if you didn't want to have a stressful, what if you didn't have to settle for the car that you have now? What if you could, what would be another word or another way to think about this? Now, this is my best friend. And honestly, a bunch of years ago, if I'd have said that to her, I would have heard a click, like on the phone, like click. But you see, we've learned something here. And so when we come back, what if you could ... And we have a caller. We are taking calls. I want to make sure you all know that we know that. We've got readings coming in for you. We've got questions coming in. 1-800-930-2819. And Benny's got them cranking up here. And when we come back, ask yourself this question: what if I could have an instantaneous shift? What if I could do that? What if it is not something as significant and life-changing, but something that's gnawing at me? Suzanne Alexandria, I'm Dr. Pat. We're going to take a short break. We're going to go right to the phones. But again, please check this out. Reiki Home Improvement Kit. And when you go here and you look at it, here's what this is. I love what Suzanne does. I'm learning so much from you. If you don't shift your energy in your home after taking the steps laid out in the plan, I'll refund you. See, that's how you know that people are giving you something that works, right? Let's take a short
Absolutely.
break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what the Reiki Revolution is about and why Suzanne Alexandria is leading it. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back. Welcome back, everyone. Welcome back. It's so great to have all of you tune us in and turn us on. Thank you for that. We are today taking on a conversation of how to use Reiki to find your peace. Now, there's a reason that we're using the word peace, but there's also a way for you to join the Reiki Revolution. That's hashtag Reiki Revolution, REIKI Revolution. And part of what Suzanne Alexandria is bringing to the forefront is a way for you to do it. And what I mean by that is a lot of times we go out and we get other people to help us with it. Certainly you can work with Suzanne in that way. But I think, Suzanne, from your experience, what you decided was, look, I can create something for people that haven't been going outside. And that's the Reiki Home Improvement Kit. Can you just take a minute and talk about that before we get rolling again?
Yeah, well, so I've been doing Reiki for many years in my office and on long distance. I do energy shifting. And so my work is a combination of lots of different kind of tools. But every time, I work with someone, I know I want to give them something to take home, like homework and a way to be empowered. And so I've taught Reiki classes, lots. I teach nurses in one of our large hospitals here, and I've taught at my church, parishioners and ministers. I've taught kids and parents, lots of people. And, it's the empowerment. So by all means, it is such a luxury and a joy to come and receive Reiki in someone's office when you get, a whole hour or two or whatever for a session. But what do you do in between? And so that's what this Reiki Home Improvement Kit.com is for. It's for people who want to learn how to bring light into their homes. And it's not about giving Reiki to other people. It's about your own presence, your own light, your own spark, because, we know this too. Change, when we have stuff going on in our homes, whether there's, for me, I've got teenagers and that causes stress. There's stress in my house. And as much as I want them to change, and they do, it begins with me. We know that, like, change begins with us. If we're the ones that want change, we do it. And so my own inner practice of meditation and prayer and devotional time is highly augmented by Reiki, because I call in the light that grounds me, and it opens my heart and it opens my mind to see like what I want to do that day, or what's causing this situation with my kids, or, it's the reason I work as an intuitive, because I cultivated myself and my awareness through using Reiki energy basically in my meditation. So that's what this kit is about. It's like, if you want a tool to bring you to center. You don't have to have any other desire than that, but to come to center, to start your day with peace, to start your day with your tea and your journal and a new way to be aligned, centered, lit up. It's about that. It's a 5-day program. And I do guarantee it, because I know my people who do what I tell them in terms of this, they have profound results, and I do too. So money back guarantee. You just tell me.
And that's why I brought it up, because I went back with that knee example I gave before I even started the show. Once I started the show, and I've shared this before, 6 months after I started the show, April 1st of 2004, literally, this is not my word. This was my doctor's, a mystery disease. That's what they said. Mm-hmm. And I had to really rework that language. But now I say it on air for purposes of being very clear, right? Mm-hmm. Like, I don't mix the words up. But when somebody says you got the mystery illness,
Great. Yeah.
yes.
What do you do? Okay.
Well, I now know why that happened. I mean, honestly, I was going to leave doing this. I was going to, go get a real job. It's like everybody, my partner, everybody around me is like, dude, right? I didn't sign on for you to pay money to people. We're in a relationship because you're supposed to make money. And, just not going to be the way that was. But for me, I am a student and I love. But more than that, there are results that people will get. And we're going to talk about that throughout the show today. I want to hop over and go right to the phones and see who we have. Benny, let's bring on our caller. I think it's Charlene. Hi, Charlene.
Hello.
Hey, how are you?
Hi, Suzanne. Hi, Dr. Pat.
Hi, Charlene.
Hi, Charlene. Nice to talk to you.
Thank you.
How can we help you today?
Well, with my shoulders, my upper shoulders, I feel a lot of tension. And
Tension?
Yeah.
Okay.
And a lot of pain just in my upper part of my back. And I'm wondering what energy center seems to be stressed out or blocked or whatever. Like, I know that I do repetitive movement for my work, so that could be contributing. But also I find that I'm not as organized as I used to be. So in my environment, I need to clear out the clutter and get scrubbing.
Yeah, absolutely. As within, so without. As without, so within. That's one of the things. Like our space is such a reflection. And if you polish up your space, like, you feel so much different. But let's see. So you're aware of the organization. I'll come back to that. So when did this kind of pain and tightness start in your shoulders? Is it relatively new? No, it's not.
I've had it probably for the last year since COVID started.
And do you sit at a desk at a computer?
I do sit at a computer for a couple of hours a day, but my job is on my feet, and I'm reaching out all the time, constantly, repetitively, with one arm, and the other arm has a plate in it. So I favor the one arm.
Yeah. Okay. So, there's always those considerations when talking about the body. And I'm a yoga teacher too. So I always can look at, like, you want to look at all of that. If you're doing repetitive motions, for many hours, how can you balance that? So be sure that your kind of exercise regimen or daily exercise can maybe help you balance that out, or even if you can switch hands during the workday. I don't know what you do, but that is something to be mindful of. But let's go, and I get a really I'm drawn into your belly, your solar plexus, as a place also where when one part is out of kilter, like the shoulders, I'm keyed into your solar plexus with your belly. Even strengthening your abs would help this situation. So some light kind of sit-ups, because those two areas on you are also out of balance. So a few sit-ups or abs crunches kind of work would also help. So those are physical things that I get right away. But how about the energy of your shoulders? So the chakra, you asked about the energy center, and I'm keyed into the throat. There is, like, the key word is balance here, big time. So if you look at your daily work, it's taking you out of balance very physically, literally. One hand is doing more than the other, all the time. And so calling back in harmony and balance for you, Charlene, is going to do wonders. And focusing your, so in terms of energy and Reiki, focusing on your center, your heart and your belly, and also grounding right down into the earth. So maybe even like start to do this. I see a pillar of light with all of us, but with you, imagine a pillar of light, which is Reiki, coming from above your head, straight down through you and down into the earth. And allow that to swirl and intend. It's all through your intention and your awareness. Let it swirl and start to call back in balance, especially the word balance, that the equilibrium, the balance that you need. So we'll start to do that, and hopefully you'll start to feel and notice a shift. You see how quickly it is. Do you have a sense of some of it starting to move right now?
Yes.
Okay, that's what Dr. Pat's highlighting. Like, talk about, you can learn to do these kinds of shifts instantaneously. That's what I'm here to start a Reiki revolution about. Like, you got it. You know, you got to learn how is all. Yeah. But Charlene, let that light, I see it as a swirl down through above your head, all the way through your body into the earth. And that's fundamentally one of the big things I teach, is how to ground and center. Now we're going to go back to the throat chakra, because you mentioned the energy center. I have a sense and a knowing that the throat chakra is about your voice and your truth. And so you're going to want to look at where you need to speak for yourself. Take a stand for yourself.
Yes.
And even when I say that, do you sense how it centers you? Like, there's something you need to say, but I even think it's just to yourself, not to another person. Like, I deserve. It feels very related. I deserve a life of balance and harmony. I deserve peace and harmony. Yes. That's not something I need to go out and work for. That's something I deserve. Does that resonate? That's grounding you deeper. So the good news is you don't have to have a tough conversation with someone else. It's you. It's you, and you get to also shift that. I deserve to do some things to take care of my body and my being that that will keep me in a place of lightness, of happiness. Yeah. Does that make sense to you?
Yes, it does.
Beautiful.
Yeah. And that's really what we're talking about, because, you know, part of this is being open enough for the journey. But the other part of this that I want to talk with you about when we come back from break, and Charlene, thank you so much for that, because that was really helpful for a lot of people listening and watching. I want to talk with you about something when we come back from break, and Charlene, you as well, to really listen to this next part of this, because a lot of times we think we have to wait until a thing happens, like a bad thing. So like when the thing happens, maybe it's not bad, but maybe it's something that does need to be healed. And it's almost as if we don't learn the proactive power of Reiki. What am I meaning by that? It's almost as if you don't, if you wait till something comes in your space, then you say, thank you, God, thank you, universe, thank you, Goddess, whatever you say. But what if you were to practice this on a regular basis? What does that do? How does that help? And that's what we're learning about the Reiki Revolution. So hashtag Reiki Revolution, Suzanne Alexandria. When we come back, the revolution is not to be at a place where you're fixing yourself or fixing your life. What if you could be proactive with this? What if you could learn this? What if you could look at the kit? What if you could learn it and implement it in your life in a way that stuff that comes at you like has no impact or
Mhm.
marginal impact.
What if? Because you're
that?
grounded in your truth, and you know,
Exactly.
you don't have to put up with something, or you know how to handle it.
And
Yeah.
that's why I'm like about the what if with the Reiki Revolution. Let's take a short break. We'll be right back with Suzanne
Thank you,
Alexandria.
Charlene.
Thank you, Charlene. Hey, everybody. Welcome back. So great to have all of you tune us in and turn us on. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. It's so good.
Yes, it is.
Isn't it good?
It's real good.
It is really good. Look, before we hop over and start talking more about, I want to talk about Reiki Revolution. I want to talk about that and what that means to you and why you're doing this, right? And part of what your journey has been about is to really create something so that people can have something in their presence, really to address what I said before the break. What if you didn't have to wait for something to happen? But before we do, how do people find out about you? But how did they get the kit?
Well, they find out about me at SuzanneAlexandria.com, or they follow me on Insta at Suzanne Alexandria Coach, or Facebook, Suzanne Alexandria Healer. So I'm pretty easy to find. I've also got some pretty good videos and meditations on YouTube. So you might want to subscribe to that as well. And this Reiki Home Improvement Kit.com is available now. You can purchase that and start your own inner revolution immediately. It's a series. It's a 5-day series it's a class. It's videos and some handouts. So think of it like a class, like a bit of a boot camp, an easy boot camp to get you started with Reiki in your home, right in your living room, in your sacred space. I'm starting to really understand the phenomenal relevance of creating sacred space. You know, like for me, it used to be just at my church, which I love. I grew up going to church, but now I've realized, whoa, I get to create sacred space in my entire home, and my office is a sacred temple space too, and my yard, you know, and whatever, my car. So I've really come into understanding the importance of my space because it nurtures me and it keeps me feeling good and vibrant and safe and, you know, alive, lit up. So beautiful. You know, I do talk in this Reiki Home Improvement Kit about the power of shifting things around, get rid of old things that you don't like or that came from people who you may not be in your life anymore, things like that, because it's part of it. Like if you're not caring for your environment, it can't care for you. And then bringing in Reiki to that's the revolution. But also I want to talk about how that came about, because the Reiki Revolution is, for me, I mean, to be honest, I still have people who call me who are scared of Reiki because there's a lot of fear about like whatever it is. And I'm not going to go into that, but I want to say Reiki is love. Reiki is light. Reiki, that's what we call it. It's wholeness. It brings us into center and wholeness. And that in itself is healing. And you and I both have tons of stories about that, where we come back to center and the body heals miraculously because inflammation gets reduced. Like when you take yourself out of stress, the body releases its toxicity. It releases inflammation. That's what happened with your knee. You know, after surgery, Reiki comes in and releases all the pain and let's just call it toxicity and inflammation. And that's why your knee felt better. I mean, it's pretty magical that we are carrying around stress and inflammation all the time. So it's a tool, just like our green tea is, to let it go, let it go, let it go. And that I just know there's such a call for that in this stressful world. It begins at the hearth. It begins in the home, in the heart. So that's what it is to me right now, the Reiki Revolution. So if you want to hop on it, start off with your basic kit, ReikiHomeImprovementKit.com. And I've got lots of other teachings if you're interested in more, but that's fundamentally what I see. You know, if people, if families start to bring in this kind of light, I know miracles happen. They happen.
You know, one of the things I talked about the other day on the show, and I find myself repeating myself because I think it is important to repeat. You know, we think about these healing modalities we're watching and we're seeing really become more visible in our mainstream. Certainly acupuncture was one of them. Definitely at the Olympics when you saw all those swimmers come out with those cupping marks.
Seriously, yeah.
You know, people were like, what the heck? Now, those of us that have had cupping and love cupping, we knew what they were getting. But see, nobody knew why they were getting it.
Right.
Right.
What does it do?
And one of the things I love about having this conversation with you is that this is a revolution, because if you go back centuries and centuries and centuries before there were so-called operating rooms, or before there were the hospitals as we know them, we as humans had to figure out how to survive, how our species was going to continue. And I think the evolution of medicine has incorporated at some level some of what we've learned along the way. You know, we're using plants in certain medications, right?
In lots, yeah.
In lots. But we forget that before the fancy dancy stuff we got now, like honestly, my surgeon used a robot to replace my knees. Like that is like
my gosh.
Star Trek. But we forget that our mere existence and survival as humans was based on our humanity, people finding, discovering, researching, trying, trial and error. Like if you died, it didn't work. And bringing this forward. And so what we're talking about today is, you know, cultures that had hands-on healing. You read stories like ancient and even hieroglyphs where the hands heated up, right? So let's have a conversation about, this is not really new. We're just bringing it forward, right?
Yeah. How do we make it relevant? You know, how do you make it relevant? That's what it's all about. That's why it's a revolution. But it's not. It's like we have been. And, you know, I think fundamentally, one of the tenets is that where your focus goes, there goes the energy. So the energy goes. That's nothing new. Like that is how it works. When you focus your intention, your heart, when you say a prayer, then your focus is on that. So if it's on bringing in light, that happens. Bringing in energy. If your focus is on your knee, so that your knee feels love and feels relief, that's what is happening. It's getting a focus that it needs. It's getting attention. And that's what pain needs, is attention, whether it's physical or emotional. So it is kind of as simple as that. And then there's this element of letting go, then, like focus on the intention, on the light. And that's one thing I teach in the home, like for the home, what is your intention? What do you want your home life to be like?
Right.
Put your focus there and it will happen.
Right. So that's really what I'm talking about. I'm talking about understanding that, one, through your help, we're going to be able to learn this. See, so this has always been the mystery for me, especially if you go back 20 years ago when this was being introduced. I thought for myself, wow, you know, maybe there's a few people that can help me, but what we're talking about now is people can help themselves, right? That's why you did what you did here with this.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. do your part. You're the critical part of the equation. I think, you know, what my hope and prayer is that all of our modalities get integrated. I'm not
Yeah.
against Western medicine at all. And
Yeah.
like in my hospital where I get to teach Reiki, we're bringing it in slowly but surely. But what fundamentally, I think one of the biggest things that has happened, like you said, we always used to do this ourselves. I'm sure in hunter-gatherer societies and in our ancestry, we figured it out, like you said, right? But we became used to like going to the doctor and just saying, here, give me an IV, like whatever it is, give me a pill, like taking ourselves out of empowerment and giving you just saying, okay, what do I need? You know better than I do here. And that's one thing that I'm teaching is be part of the equation. You bring it in for yourself. You intend that you're going to get better, and you will. You know, you intend. You may not, you know, some things might be insurmountable, but we have so much more power, and it is imperative on us to take back our power.
Yeah.
So
you know, let's talk about this for a minute too, because I want to go back to something we said earlier. I kind of want to bring it full circle around this way. Number one, I had to be open to this. I had to be open. It didn't mean I had to be like a full fan base Reiki Revolution person.
No,
okay.
No.
But I had to be
No.
open, right?
Yeah.
The second thing is you become more in tune to yourself. See, we don't talk about this enough when we talk about Reiki.
Yeah.
The beautiful after effects of Reiki is, or at least for me, is this new attunement of my emotional and physical self and my spiritual self.
Yeah.
And that becomes cumulative, doesn't it?
Oh, absolutely. That's something that I have learned that we have to learn to cultivate that inner experience. And it's light and it gets all sparkly and it gets effervescent when you cultivate it. But we're so used to cultivating things only outside of ourselves, not right in here in our body and in our heart. So I'm really glad, I'm grateful you brought that up, because that's the practice of it, is starting a daily practice that doesn't even have to take very long, 10, 15 minutes. You start to think in a new way, and you start to treat your body in a new way, and you start to treat your surroundings in a new way. And that brings peace. That's how this brings peace. It's how it brings awareness. Because I think awareness is peace. Not ignoring something is peace. But yeah, I'm really glad that you brought that up, because to me, and for people that I work with, it's like rainbowy, sparkly light comes in and takes place in your body and moves away the thoughts of what's going on in the world and fear and, you know, all that kind of anxiety. I came to Reiki because I had insurmountable anxiety, and it was from a lot of life experiences. But it's like, aside from Xanax, it's the one thing that after really cultivating a practice, it helped me get to the bottom of what was causing anxiety. And so that's how it works.
Yeah. One of the things I was really struck by, especially, and I just want people to know, the Reiki Home Improvement Kit, if you go there, Reiki Home Improvement Kit, one of the things you're going to find is you're going to be able to take a look at, you know, what Suzanne has put together. But there's a couple of things interesting that we should talk about in the few minutes we have left. And one of them is the fact we're talking about, and by the way, it's ReikiHomeImprovementKit.com. One of the things we're talking about that you discuss in this is you say, look, this is for your home. This means your pets. This means your children. This means your space. And you know what is so important about what you've done is for 24 months now, people have had a different home experience
Mhm.
than they've ever had.
Mhm.
And unexpected, different, a lot of mixed energy in the home. And this is really now the time to really look at this as we move forward. And it's interesting. A friend of mine said, well, we're almost back to normal. And, honestly, there's nothing really normal about where we are.
Mhm.
That doesn't mean that you still don't have some energy shifting to do in the home. And I think
Mhm.
it's so important that you put this together as a home improvement kit. What were you
Mhm.
seeing that you want to share with us here about our homes that we need to address?
Well, I think that, for many of us, the home, like I was in corporate America. I go to it, and now even I go to an office every day, then I go home. And I wasn't really able to focus on my home very much in the way that I do now. And I think COVID, our quarantine, gave us a golden opportunity. We know lots of us did a big purge and cleaned and did things we hadn't done in years. And so the relevance of that is very profound. We know the feeling of how it is to get rid of old stuff. But now, as we move in back to normal, if we want to call it there, I mean, what is normal? We're just in there's no normal. But
Right.
For me, even in good times, I keep moving forward and I keep changing and adjusting and evolving. And my space needs to move along with that. And so I see that I'm always going to be improving everything because I change. Like you've said, we're lifelong learners. And so we're embarking on a new journey. And if I go on away, for instance, on a vacation, I get really uplifted, especially if I'm at the water. And then I come back and I have to adjust the energy in my house because I'm a new me. So even if you're not in like stress or trauma or whatever, though there's plenty of that, like there's still a need to orient ourselves to be present and calm. It's still an essential part of peace, I find. So even in the good times, it's like daily prayer for the house,
Yeah.
the household, and the
Yeah.
pets and the kids. And I
Yeah.
guarantee when you bring your focus to that, your kids change, things change pretty
Yeah.
profoundly.
Yeah. The reason I wanted to ask you about this, and I want to ask you to your personal message, is because we're living in these times of just unpredictabilities. Unpredictability is like, what do you mean? You can't predict. You never know what's going to pop up on any given day. And if we could establish that place, that safe haven of peace
Mhm.
by what you're bringing forward, then who wouldn't want to do that? And
I know,
that's part
seriously.
of what you've done, isn't it?
Yeah. Yeah. Let it be your safe, beautiful haven, nest, whatever, comfort zone.
I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Suzanne, thank you for today. I want to make sure people know how to find out more about you, but what's your personal message? What do you want to leave us with?
That cultivating inner freedom, cultivating inner peace is the secret. And Reiki is a tool for that. Going within, I know that to be imperative to my lifelong, ability to feel, to be happy. So if you're seeking something new, the answer is in here. And this Reiki Home Improvement Kit is a tool to help you open new pathways, open the door to your heart, literally, to that. So if that speaks to you, then get it, and also reach out. I'd love to talk to you too. I also have a way on my website to reach out to me and do a free call if you're interested in working more.
And by the way, and that is true. I mean, we're just talking about the Reiki Revolution, but you work with people one-on-one. You work with them on Zoom. So there's a whole range of things that you do. And if they go to your website, they will definitely be able to schedule time with you.
Yes. And
my
in-depth
mantra-
readings.
Yeah, in-depth. My mantra right now is don't do this alone. Whatever it is, whatever your it is,
No,
you don't have to do it alone.
we don't do it alone. We can't. It's too hard.
Yeah.
We can try.
Yeah, that doesn't work. Suzanne, thank you so much.
Thank you,
Suzanne
Dr. Pat.
Alexandria,
Thank you
everybody.
so very much.
Benny, thank you. Olivia, thank you. Jessica,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you
And
all.
yeah, they're amazing audience. And don't forget Mary Jane Mack coming up right now. We'll see you next time.
Awesome.